Today, we answer the age-old question, what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? I'm just kidding. We're actually just gonna answer why disc golfers can't seem to throw that far, or at least maybe a reason or two why. But how you doing today, Joey? You having a good one?
So catch me if I fall.
We open every distance video with this, but if we're being 100% true to ourselves, I don't care if you throw 500 feet, you want more distance. If you throw 200 feet, you want more distance. Everybody will always want more distance because the drug that it is, it kind of encourages you that, just like The Greatest Showman, never enough, never, never. So I wanted to make a quick video talking about something that helped me start to gain some distance, especially when I felt like I was in a sort of plateau for my distance overall, specifically around the like 300 to 350 range, knowing that this tip may help me blast past that plateau, as well as one other thing that might be hindering this tip from actually coming into effect. Now to start, we have to go to school. Fortunately, this is a board with white on it, but it's not actually a white board. Something that is discussed quite often in disc golf is arm speed. And arm speed can be mistranslated into, look how fast my arm is. Can't see me, boy. Arm speed is not inherently just how fast is your arm moving. Arm speed is sort of a combination of factors that is how well are you able to translate your momentum of your run-up of your body into the disc through your arm. But if there is one thing that I'm learning as I continue to do lessons and help people grow their disc golf game, and including having my coach help me grow my disc golf game, is a term that we do need to talk a lot more about, and that is hand speed. The ability for you to make your hand become the fastest moving part of the throw is paramount to success in finding distance in disc golf. A great example of this is sometimes you'll watch people, especially if you ever get the chance to be around tech disc, is someone looks like they're throwing really hard, but they're not necessarily throwing very fast. This is an important distinction because a lot of people, when it comes to disc golf, want to muscle and go as hard as they possibly can. And when we start making our muscles super tense, that slows us down. But if they're too loose and your hand speed gets up, your hand is not gonna have enough strength, and you're not really gonna have enough rigidity inside of the arm to actually hold on to the disc, which is gonna cause early releases. Thus, our conundrum when it comes to hand speed. In disc golf, we want to be able to take our hand and get it moving as fast as possible on its own. Once we've dialed that aspect in is where we will take off and start adding the rest of our body to gain momentum, which will only help increase that hand speed. For instance, when we're just focused on speed, we think, let's just move as fast as possible. We end up with the body moving fast and the hand not getting the speed it needs. It goes well, but it's not necessarily gonna help us break distance thresholds in the future. If our hand can't get up to speed, our body moving fast is only gonna throw off the rest of our timing. We can slow things down and just try to increase our hand speed. And in a much more controlled manner, we're able to generate similar distances, if not allow our threshold and our top end to increase later on. As a big analogy guy, this would be exactly like putting the cart before the horse. If the horse is running on its own, it can certainly accomplish a lot, and with a single rider, it can go pretty far. Cart just on its own though, without the horse to pull it, is only going to be able to move downhill. We want to try to be able to bring these two together so that we can get as much power as possible. But so often, players who try to bring a run up into the game end up moving super fast, and this body speed actually blows two other things out of proportion. When we just focus on body speed and moving as fast as humanly possible, it's a lot harder to brace if we haven't built up that mechanic. And when we can't brace properly, all of our power leaks out and explodes out of the front of the tee box. That's why you'll see so many players who are newer or trying to learn things, they'll come through and just, trust me, you've seen it, and unfortunately, it may actually be some of you. But when we learn to develop that hand speed, that's why so many people who are focused on throwing standstills at first, which a standstill is quite simply just the final result of your run-up, but you get to actually start yourself in proper position. There are lots of folks who have similar distances on standstills as opposed to a normal run-up. And this is because they're maximizing their hand speed in comparison to their body speed. To demonstrate this even further, I'm gonna have Side Guy take a still of what it looks like when my body gets going and my hand doesn't quite get fast enough. My hand gets literally trapped behind my body, which then creates the thing that you'll hear about called rounding, which is where my hand can't come through in a straight pull. And because of that, it has to go out and around, which is a much slower pace of getting to the target. Whereas if I focus on just increasing my hand speed and I'm only thinking about that, my hand has a direct line to pull through on the target, and it allows me to generate more speed because it's literally a faster route through the shot. So we can see the problem. Often people get so focused on trying to generate power and speed to get their disc to come up faster that we're generating speed the wrong way. We're generating speed with our body and kind of our run-up momentum instead of actually getting our hand speed increase. So here are 2 little tips that I think you can use to start increasing your hand speed. Drill 1 comes straight from overthrow, and it's the backwards drill. When I've done this with students of my own, so many of them actually end up throwing some of the farthest drives that they've ever had in their life. And the backwards drill is quite simple. We're trying to teach the hand that it needs to be the fastest moving part of the body. So I'm going to position myself and line up, not in a way that I'm facing entirely backwards, but pretty much backwards. And I'm going to leave the disc back here, and my goal is to try to throw behind me. I want my hand to get that feeling of right here. I'm trying to hold my left arm or my offside back a little bit so that there is a strong anchor back here that my hand is going out and through. The warning is that if you've never done this before, do not do this full power. Do not do this full power, because it's going to stretch these muscles right here, and you could end up injuring yourself if you go full power and you've never even like stretched or done this muscle before. I do not want that at all. So just go a little soft with it, because eventually you're going to let your body come through a little bit and throw. Eventually you're going to stop holding everything back, and when that hand speeds up, you're going to know the feeling to come through. It's a quick example with my dune. Now, it's okay if it hyzers out. That's completely fine. We're throwing a standstill. We'll go another example here. I want to try to make sure that I'm coming through, hitting it as flat as possible. And that basket is 262 feet away. So we just threw it a little over 280, close to 300, just going backwards like this. Why? Because the speed of the hand is so critical to increase the speed of the hand. And when we do that, eventually we can start bringing the body into play to add to the momentum and the power that we're already building up. Now, the point of that exercise is to help your body feel what it's like to accelerate the hand, to send the hand as fast as possible. And the second exercise is similar, but honestly kind of another way of approaching this that I think will help you get that feeling of your hand being the thing to fire. So in the first exercise, eventually you're gonna let your body, instead of just firing here, where you're gonna feel like obviously some stress and some tension in this part of your shoulder. The next step is, as you come through and you know what it feels like for this hand to be isolated, which is giving you so many positive things, you're going to simply let the shoulders follow through and then fire and come around. But the problem with this is that our head can sometimes derail even a very fast hand. And I call this looking for the shot. Not original to me. Someone probably much smarter than me said it in the future. But it's quite simply this. When we go to throw the shot, as we come through, if we start looking and peeking forward, if I'm gonna do this coming at y'all, if I start looking and peeking forward, suddenly the more that my head turns, the harder it is for me to keep my shoulders pulled back during this motion. And because of this, my shoulders open. So when my hand gets to that full tension point, rather than letting the tension hit for the shoulders here, and now I'm throwing a straight shot, I pull through and my head starts looking up, and now to reach my maximum potential point, I'm pulling it out to the right, and I'm gonna be grip locking things off to the right. So your second drill is when you're throwing, I want you to be very intentional in where you put your bag. Now, it's against the PDGA rules to have my bag off in the distance as an additional aiming marker. I can't remember who it was, but I want to say it was like 3 years ago. Someone actually got called for this on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. it was a par 4 or maybe a par 5, and the shot went around the corner, and they walked up to see and make sure they were clear, and they left their bag right there, walked back, and then threw their shot from their lie. I don't know if they were intentionally using it, but that's how it got marked. However, there's nothing that says we can't use our bag as a reference point for our head, especially when throwing. So often when people play disc golf, they're gonna take their bag and set it behind the tee box. And they walk up, they do their thing. All the action happens behind the tee box. What I want you to do is, I want you to take your bag and set it off to the side of the tee box. Set it off right to the side, because that way it's not in anyone's way. It's not gonna be kicked or on the tee box itself. But when my bag is off to the side, I'm going to make sure that my head stays focused on that bag. If you're really having trouble with this, instead of being to the side, you can set it back about 45 degrees if you're still in transition coming through the hand pull through motion. So in having my bag set off to the side, what's gonna happen is my head is gonna stay on that bag. So as I come through, my body hits, my hand fires. Even here, you can see my shoulders. I'm cheating just a little bit, so I wanna be more here. My hand comes through, but my head stays here the whole time. At no point can I be looking at my bag and also looking forward to look for the shot. I'm gonna keep it there. And as I come through the shot, my hand fires. And then in this cool down phase, my off arm is going to swing up, and that is what allows my head to come forward. At that point, the disc has already launched. My hand has already been the fastest part of the throw, because I have, with the control of my head and by looking at the bag, I have allowed everything to stay back until the very last moment. There almost might even be a little tension in your neck from you trying to exaggerate this so much. And that probably is too far. Once again, if you're a medical professional and you're watching this, I would love some exercises, if you want to recommend any, in the comments to sort of even positive stretches for that. Because I'm not asking people to go out full power and just destroy their arm. That's not what we're going for. You are wanting to feel the speed of the hand. And honestly, what's crazy is that if you just stand still and just send the hand, that alone is so fast compared to swinging the whole body around. I can get my hand to go through. If we think about popping a towel, and I'm not saying pop a towel in terms of send it and pull it back, but if we think about popping a towel, when I'm popping a towel on a kid, I don't run up and go with my whole body. It's simply the hand coming through. I am snapping my hand through on the other side. I want to wrap up with my favorite benefits of this method, because hopefully we give enough warnings as you walked along the way. For some of you, you're going to think, if I'm not looking forward to the shot, how am I ever supposed to hit a line? But if we align our feet properly and we send the hand, it actually allows us to be more accurate, because when our hand comes through and we're trying to time, like I talked about in the full release point is going to be late and to the right. I'm now trying to, at some random point, let the tension create to let the disc rip out of my hand. As opposed to trusting and letting the hand be the fastest part of my body, the fastest part of the throw, and sending it forward, it's going to be on those train tracks heading in the right direction. If you find yourself early releasing and it's going left all the time, as a right-handed player, for my lefties who are in their right minds, obviously if it's going right, that's an early release for you guys. Then what that means is you aren't trusting the shot enough. You are trying to send the hand, but you aren't fully sending the hand all the way through. And so you're sort of stopping the motion and then trying to pivot out and around. It's okay if you have a couple grip locks when you're sending this method through, because some of those are gonna feel like the most power, but if they're grip locked hard to the right, I can almost guarantee that it's because you did send the hand, but then you also looked up at advance. The balance between the backwards method and looking at the bag hopefully can find you a nice middle ground, so that during your next round, you can maybe on an open hole, or maybe if you get to the course a few minutes before everyone else, head out, warm up, and just give this a rip, give it a try. I would love to know in the comments down below how you feel about it, or if you've ever tried something like this before. I promise you, I have had multiple students who have tried this method before, and every single one of them, this this has led to some of their farthest throws possible. We've been trying to go back towards our roots at Robbie C Disc Golf, which is instructional content, and hopefully it's been connecting with y'all. I would love to know what kind of content or what areas of focus you would like to see more tips on. I've got several mentally in the bank that I'm working through, but as always, I'm here for you to make content for you, so I'd love to know what's helpful for you. I don't think any coach in any sport takes lightly the trust that you give us in helping guide you to performance results. And so I don't make these videos lightly just thinking, that sounds like a decent idea, I'm just gonna throw it out there to the interwebs. We only say it when we think it's actually gonna be helpful for you. So I hope it is indeed. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for watching. I hope you can make a fantastic day for someone else too. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie.